What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Malik Scott. Malik Scott, the trainer of Deontay Wilder, vows that Deontay Wilder will knock out Tyson Fury in spectacular fashion and then move on to fight Anthony Joshua. Wow. And this is what he had to say. He said Malik Scott is confident he'll move on to clash with the winner of Usyk and Joshua. So they're still looking at Usyk as a formidable opponent. He said he will KO Fury and will never lose another fight afterwards. Anthony Joshua and Usyk is next. And of course, this is what Deontay Wilder said. He said, "My mind is very violent. We built a whole facility to commit a legal homicide, and that's just what it is. My mind is very violent at this time. But I have to wait until I get in the ring. The baby's got to eat, and everything that you've been contemplating, you can release in the ring." Okay, and people get paid to see it. Now, let me counterpunch, okay? I like the confidence of Malik Scott. Malik Scott, I think, as of now, it looks like he's released a whole new interest within Deontay Wilder to train, to focus, to like to train, because, you know, he said he didn't even like to train. He didn't like to do certain things. So he was really getting bored, or, you know, something in his personality wasn't really allowing him to want to train and to do the things that should have been done, right? It's fair to say. So that's a good thing. Let me counterpunch. I think that Deontay Wilder, he has a great game plan together. I hope that's what he intends to do if he beats Tyson Fury. But remember something, people. He has to beat Tyson Fury first, okay? And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, there you go about Wilder again. It's not about Wilder or anybody else. It's about the person that you're fighting next. Yes, Malik Scott plans to aid Deontay Wilder to a victory to knock out Tyson Fury. Then move on to Joshua. Okay. I think for anybody, you should focus on the person right in front of you. Because when people start talking about other fighters, then you can't help but to think about that fight in your head, in your psyche, right? In your mental. And I think that can lead to certain problems. I think at the end of the day, Deontay Wilder needs to take one thing at a time. You know, I know he said, yeah, I'm going to knock out Tyson Fury, then move on to Anthony Joshua or Usyk. But it seems like, what's the end game? You're talking about the end game. So if anybody was reading this, it's like, okay, he's talking about fighting 2 or 3 people. He should be really focusing on one. Not saying that he's not, because I've never seen Deontay Wilder driven the way he is with training. I never seen training. You know, he looks great in training. He looks better than I ever seen him. But Malik Scott, but this is probably just Malik Scott's words. But, you know, Malik Scott was like, hey, you know, our expectations, or my expectations, is fair to say, is to fighting the winner out of those guys to be fully undisputed. You know, but Wilder, I haven't heard him say that per se. I've heard him just focus on Fury, which I think he needs to do. So to be fair, I haven't heard Deontay Wilder say, I want them next. He did say keep that same energy in an interview, but then it was a lot of negative things that made you think like, okay, well, maybe that fight might not happen just due to the way Wilder's talking. Because Wilder is an emotional person, you know, and, you know, he doesn't like Eddie Hearn. And as long as that's the case, you know, I remember Floyd had a beef with Bob Arum for a long time because of some money discrepancies. Bob Arum, go figure. And, you know, him and Bob had some beef. And so Bob Arum was Manny Pacquiao's promoter at the time. So, you know, a lot of problems consist of that. This may be a little of that for different reasons. I just think Deontay Wilder doesn't like Eddie Hearn. Deontay Wilder hasn't had any business with Eddie Hearn. So they never sat down and done anything together. So he has no reason to say, oh, money. No, that's BS. He just doesn't like Eddie Hearn, and it's based off of his manager, Shelly Finkel, because they don't get along. So, you know, I mean, a lot of people carry other people's burdens, you know, and grudges just because of who they associate themselves with. Okay, just like Deontay Wilder, his Shelly Finkel and all that, you know, he doesn't like Eddie Hearn because Shelly Finkel doesn't, you know. So I think that's a little association, grudge by association. But Deontay Wilder, I feel that he should focus on one fight at a time. Then we should have that conversation about Anthony Joshua and Usyk, because those guys have, you know, their own fight together. It's great for the heavyweight division right now. I'm glad and I hope this will be the last fight between these two, because we've seen enough that stretched for the last 4 years, 18, 19, 20, 21, right? So we'll see what happens. But based off the training that we've seen, I can understand why Malik Scott feels that he will knock out Tyson Fury in dynamic fashion. You guys tell me what you think about Malik Scott's comments. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.